Cool me peas. So today I was planning to do a chit-chatty video because I was in the mood to talk to you guys, but no. The guys outside have been working since 7:30 this morning. So I'm still gonna chit-chat at you, but in a voiceover video. Everything on my face will be listed down below, including my lipstick and all that kind of good stuff. Um, so I'm starting with this eye pencil from Urban Decay in Plushie, and I'm putting that all over my eyelid, and then I'll blend it out. This is a look that I did when I did, what did I film? I filmed a couple videos. So I did the Urban Decay lip or eye pencil set review, and then the ColourPop reviews in this eye look, and a couple of you requested it, so I redid it today. This is the first time I've actually like recreated a look. Usually I film the look as like the first time I did it. So I'm trying to recreate a look that I did, and I think I got pretty close. What was the other thing I was going to tell you? Oh, and if you are wondering where I'm sitting right now, I am on like the opposite end of my room. My room is not that big, but I am on the opposite end of it, trying to get as far away from the window and the noise as possible. But if you do hear any noise, it's just the guys outside working. So yeah, I'm gonna take, this is my MAC 217, and I'm just gonna blend that pencil out using it as an eye base. I was also jamming out to some songs by Mashrou Layla, which are a Lebanese group. I will link the playlist down below. I think even if you don't speak Arabic, they're fun to listen to. They're a good beat and they're uplifting, and it's a really cool group in general. The other thing I guess I was going to mention here was I was thinking, a couple of you requested to do all Arabic videos, and since I'm now only uploading 5 days a week, I might try to do that on a weekend. Let me know if there's like specific things you guys want to talk about in those. See, jamming out. The music was so good. I needed a minute, just a minute to take it all in. I am taking this ColourPop shadow. It's the lightest purple in the shade. I can't remember the name right now. It's Tinsel. There we go. Technical difficulties today, you guys. A bunch of you suggested I use these with my fingers today, so that's what I did for the most part. And with this color, I did like how it came out. It gave me a nice opacity. However, when I went in the first time and used a brush, I got a similar kind of opacity. So for this one, I didn't see a huge amount of difference, but we'll talk about one of the other shades in a moment. And yeah, the problem I feel that I found with these guys is that if I'm trying to use them all over my lid with my finger, it's okay, but it ends up being a little bit choppy. It's not as blended as I would like, and so I would have to go in afterwards and blend it out a little bit with my brush. But yeah, again, and the other technique to get it off with your to get the color payoff that you want is to swirl your finger around as opposed to sort of like dabbing it in. Again, I show that a little bit later on in the video. But what was I talking about before? Oh, right. See, this is the problem with doing voiceovers. I get lost. I get lost all the time. What I was going to say is that I'm thinking of doing sort of weekend Arabic videos. It won't be every weekend. It's just a couple of you requested them. And since I do my beauty videos in English, I was thinking of doing sort of like more conversational stuff to practice language on the weekend, but let me know if you'd like that, or if you guys would prefer to see like full-on beauty videos or all that kind of good stuff. Anyways, so I'm taking this color in Doa Deer. This one had a little bit of a harder consistency. It wasn't quite as like bouncy, and so I found that using a brush with it was useful, but you did have to sort of really put your brush in there a couple times to get the color payoff that you wanted. And that was the color, I think, Doa Deer. It's the dark purple in the color. I will, in the set, I will link my the whole video on this eye palette set, or this eyeshadow set, down below. And I think it's Drift, the red color I'm going to use next. That's the one that because they've made a couple of limited edition shades permanent now. So definitely check out the ColourPop website if you just wanted to see if any of the ones that you liked most were made permanent. Anyways, I was just taking my 239 and I'm patting it first into that outer corner because that's where I want the most color opacity. The first place you place your brush is where you're going to get the most opacity. So I'm placing it there and then blending it up and through the crease, just because I didn't quite blend out that light purple color. I wanted to make sure I was doing my blending now. This was a little bit stiffer to work with, so I spent a decent amount of time blending things out. Then I'm taking this color Drift. I used a 217 again as opposed to my normal crease brush, just because I wanted something denser so I could get the color payoff that I wanted. And then I just sort of dipped the top of it into that reddish color. and then ran that through my crease. Again, I think this is the color that was made permanent. Sarah on Instagram asked me if how I choose my crease colors. So usually the kind of colors I go for in a crease are sort of something like a MAC Uninterrupted or a Bobbi Brown Camel, like those sort of like mustardy yellowy colors, because they tend to work well. Or you could take your bronzer, because technically when you're working on crease work, not in a colorful look like this, but technically you're wanting to sort of have that part of your eye sink in, which is why you'd use kind of a bronzer color. When I do colorful looks, I don't necessarily have a fast and hard rule for how I pick crease colors. I just try something and go with it, because the rule supposedly is it's supposed to be sort of a darker matte color, and I've used glitters and I've used colors. I just tend to pick out a darker color that either contrasts or goes with the eye color that I am using on my eyelids. I think this is Halo. This was the one, yeah, it is broken, it's sad. This is the one that I had the hardest time getting any opacity out of, so I tried using it with my finger. Yeah, that was me just exasperated at the noises. And patting it in. And I did get more of a color payoff. However, again, it was still a little bit chunky and unblended, so I had to go over it a couple times with my finger and pat it in. And I think that's it. So the way I chose the crease color here today was it was the one in the palette that looked like it would add some kind of contrast. But yeah, that was me with the whole not blending. But still work. The look that I'm preparing for you guys next week, that one with the Asphyxia Urban Decay pencil that I talked to you guys about, the way I chose that crease color was I found that there were a lot of pinks that were being pulled from one, like the eyelid color in general, and so I picked like a paler matte pink to go in there, but there's no necessarily a hard and fast rule in how I pick those crease colors. Just have fun, just experiment, and yeah, I go from there. This is that color Tinsel, I believe, which I was super excited about, and I tried to use in a couple different ways here, and I think the thing is that you should probably try to use this color either all over the lid as opposed to as sort of in more specific areas, just because it doesn't work really well with a brush. So I took the pencil brush from MAC and I tried to put it in that little inner corner, and I just didn't get any color payoff. And then, as you're gonna see in a second, I tried to take my finger in it, and again I tried dabbing first and I just didn't get enough payoff, so I had to swirl it around, and then I tried to put it in that little inner corner and I got a decent amount of color payoff, but what happened was that I got color really all over the place. So as you'll see in a second, I had to go back in with a concealer brush and clean that up a little bit. So I think the trick to colors like Tinsel from ColourPop, hey look, there are my shoes, is that you could use them sort of like a pressed pigment all over the eyelid, but not in any sort of very specific areas. I was in a bad mood, and then a good song came on, and it cheered me up. So I don't know what I was saying. Yeah, I ended up using a variety of techniques to try to make it work, but it was pilling up sort of in the pan and stuff like that, and it wasn't making me super happy. Not to say it's a bad color, I just it's one, this one, the Tinsel one, I think is one that you have to be kind of specific about how you use. And then I took the color Partridge, which I told you guys is sort of a dupe for like the MAC blue brown pigment, and I took it on that same little pencil brush and ran it underneath my eyes. And again, I think the trick for this color and then the color I used in my crease, when I used a denser brush than I usually use in these areas, so I don't usually use a pencil brush to place the color under my eyes, I use something a little softer, but using something this dense actually really, I didn't see that little one coming. I break out into song all the time. It's great. Even on the bus and people stare. It's all good. Using a denser brush underneath with these ColourPop shadows just helped me get the opacity out of it with one swipe, which was really great. So I think looking back on it, it's a matter of if you are using a glittery shade like Halo, like Tinsel, make sure you're using them on like big areas and not one specific small area, because it'll just be a little bit chunky. So what am I taking? I'm taking Voodoo inside the waterline. So I guess the basic final verdict, even using them with my finger, is that they still require a little bit of work, and you just have to be sort of careful about where you want to place them and how you want to use them. So the matte colors you could definitely blend out with a brush, just use something a little bit more dense. And then the glitter colors work best applied with your fingers. But that being said, because you're applying them with your fingers, you want it in an area where it's going to be sort of all over the lid, not under the brow bone or in the inner corner, just because you can't get the same kind of placement in those sort of tight areas that you can with a brush. Okay. So following now is my attempt to put lashes on camera for the first time. The first thing that you definitely want to do is to put on a coat of mascara so that you have the black color of the mascara lining up with the dark color of the lashes. Otherwise, you're going to see two different color of sort of like lash hairs. And then the second thing you want to do is you want to measure your lashes. So when lashes come, you always want to look at what the shortest end of the hairs in the lashes, and that's what's going to go in your inner corner. You never want to go too far into your inner corner. You want to leave a little bit of a gap, sort of where your natural lashes start. Yeah, I was having trouble getting the glue open. And so you'll cut off from the outside any excess amount. And a cool trick I just recently learned from Cora, whose channel here on YouTube is Vintage or Tacky, is that the excess part that you cut off, you can actually just stick back onto the outside edge of the lash, and it'll just give you some extra volume. And so then you just definitely want to rim the edge of the lash with a lot of glue, and make sure you've got a decent amount on there, especially on the edges, and wait for it to dry. Give it about 15 seconds, shake it out a little bit, and all that kind of good stuff. I'm hesitant to do a full-on lash video right now, just because I legitimately have only been wearing lashes for a week. So once I get slightly more confident with the lashes, I will try and film a full-on video for you guys. But I guess my biggest tip now is I used to be petrified, like full-on petrified of lashes. And I would say just they can smell your fear. So just be confident and try, and you know, you'll get better the more you practice. So this is the strategy I used, is you take them and you just place them in the middle, and then you let go. And then you take the outer edge, you push for about a couple seconds and then let go, and then you do the same with the inner corner. And then when you've let go of that inner corner, if there are any adjustments, you're going to look in the mirror, you're going to make any adjustments, and go from there. So it definitely takes patience. Just don't be, I was scared of it, and I think that was the biggest thing, is just keep practicing, keep playing, and don't be scared of lashes. They can sense it. So this is the final look for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. It's been a strange morning, but we got through. So let's do some points of positivity. The first is a great new blanket that I got from Beirut when I came back. It's keeping me super warm. The second is texting with my sweet Noelle this morning. And the third is getting to FaceTime with my great grandma. Not my great grandma, my awesome grandma. That's it for me today. I want to send you guys tons of love and remind you that life is just too short to wear boring lipstick. Bye, guys.